But the issue at hand, of course, is the situation in Ukraine with Russian troops moving in on a number of cities, not to mention the capital city and also Kharkiv, the second largest city. The threat is imminent for the Ukrainian people. Lieutenant General Richard Sherman joining me now, as always. This is your area of expertise. Times at war, our troops in danger overseas, and the Ukrainian troops are feeling that threat right now more than anything. I want to talk about that, but first of all, your response and reaction to the President's State of the Union tonight in regards to the situation in Ukraine and the threat against Russia. Do you feel as though he struck a tone, as you said earlier, that our families, our servicemen and women want to hear?
I believe so, and let's follow up with Leland and what George Will are talking about in terms of the strategic messaging that he talked at the first 10 to 12 minutes was on Ukraine. I'd like to also add that the messaging is not necessarily just for the American audience, but it's also for our NATO allies as well as for Putin, certainly for the Ukrainian people as well. That's very unique with this particular State of the Union, where we are in this particular state of history of a massive invasion of Russia on Ukraine. So that's one point. Now, with regard to our men and women in uniform, their family members, and our veterans, by the way, very strong towards recognizing our veterans' service and the sacrifices they've made. I believe that also struck a tone where I think the men and women in uniform will understand what their roles and responsibilities are from this commander-in-chief in that first part of the State of the Union. I thought that was important because, again, as we talked earlier this evening, we are sending men and women in harm's way on deployment to Europe for the defense of NATO. Another part that was key to me was towards the end of the Ukraine aspect of his speech, he talked about the purpose of their roles and missions there was to defend NATO. It was also to deter further aggression. It was not, there's a quote here, but he said, we're not going to put American men and women, essentially boots on the ground in Ukraine.
Right.
And so I think that was key. So he kind of tied that all in together. The other piece I thought was very interesting at the top, and I don't know if we've talked about it, but sitting next to the First Lady of the United States was the Ukrainian ambassador to the United States. And I thought that was a very key moment in the speech right off the bat, because his first line, he talks about freedom will always triumph over tyranny, and then he recognized the Ukrainian people. And then he said, again, the Putin attack has been premeditated and again, unprovoked. And he said, Putin must pay a price. And so those are all consistent. So the messaging there is a multi-approach. And I think it's essential, but it's absolutely essential that the American people, but also our men and women in uniform, understand and appreciate.
Right, and I think that was a moment of unity, not just in the chamber tonight when you see the members of both houses show up wearing yellow and blue in support of the Ukrainian people. That moment with the ambassador, so critical. But you and I have discussed President Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, how he has been able to rally not only his people, but the support of the world behind him. So the president had an opportunity tonight to display his leadership on the heels of a Ukrainian president who is the David in this Goliath fight and who has been able to solidify global support when he doesn't have a lot of strength right now in terms of military might. That is striking. Do you believe that the president tonight offered the type of support that Zelensky is asking for?
I believe he did. He delivered that we will remain strong with and we will stand with the people of Ukraine. All the while he strived, we'll see in the coming days if it was effective in terms of a message of unity inside the United States. Certainly when the domestic political aspects of this, let's put that aside. But I think he was clear in my mind that the aim is to be unified in our support of the Ukrainian people. Not Republicans, not Democrats, it's the American people. And we will stand with you. And he made that commitment. Again, the messaging here is, yes, for the American people, but it's also for our NATO allies. It's also for President Zelensky, but it's also for other allies around the world, not just in NATO. And so he's got a big task in front of him to continue to rally that unified support for Ukraine, because they are hanging by a sliver right now with, again, a mass of that convoy we've talked about. Is encircled, and so
they're in the fight of their lives.